Alright guys, so we were just going to talk to you about the ultrasound and the appointment. So, here is the baby. And then here, the black area here and that black area there, you can see some of it better in some of the other photos. So it turns out that that's
blood.
bleeding. It's blood.
Yeah, so it's a bleed around the amniotic sac, or a subchorionic hemorrhage, as we learned quickly by Googling.
Because they didn't really give us a lot, which we'll talk about in just a sec.
Yeah. So anyway, so bottom line is, so according to the measurements, the baby is 5 weeks and 5 days.
Which doesn't match up with
the cycle. With the process.
It doesn't match up with it doesn't match up with
it should be about a little over 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Like based on our
it doesn't. Let me just say this. So there's a couple of things. So like, one, it doesn't mess up with the pregnancy test I took, like when I got a positive.
Right.
And how strongly it was.
Right.
Two, it doesn't line up with like my cycle. But even if we were wrong about my cycle, this still doesn't explain the test.
Mm-hmm.
That lined up with
the cycle.
With the cycle. And then also for more, they were able to not just get a heartbeat, which is really hard to do at this stage, but they were able to get a heartbeat so strong that they could, they didn't have to search for it.
Right.
It was instantly there, and it was really strong, and it was the heartbeat of a older fetus.
Yeah.
So it was an older baby.
Older baby.
So that was a little bit like.
So then the measurement wise, they're saying it's 5 weeks and 5 days.
And then the measurement of when my new due date would make this baby have been conceived on either side wouldn't have happened.
Just doesn't line up.
Doesn't line up.
So basically, bottom line was like between the blood and the we'll call it the too small size.
And its heart's beating, so it's developing, but it might not be growing.
Yeah. So anyways, obviously, like there's a little bit of sadness here because it's like, as the doctor said, it's a miscarriage threat.
Yeah, and that I have to have pelvic rest.
And pelvic rest.
Take it easy, basically, and no like sex.
No sex and taking it easy and just like lots of like and then I guess the doctors, and the nurses who were talking to us, they're kind of like just in wait and see mode is really how they kind of even phrase it. But what they're really saying is like, just looking at this, maybe just signs aren't good.
But they didn't want to tell us that.
But they don't want to be like, oh, it's done, and they also don't want to be like, there's nothing to worry about. So they're like, we'll just wait and see and come back in a week or two.
Yeah, but here was the problem we had. Like we were saying, if the baby was just measuring small but everything looked good, we'd be like, okay, well maybe we got our dates off. Or if the pregnancy test I took had been barely positive, or I had taken it later, we'd be like, okay, we just had our dates off. Or if there was like just no bleeds and all that stuff,
heartbeat, right?
Or no heart, or like a faint flitter of a heartbeat because it's just a little too early. Like all these things, like if it was only one of all of these things, I wouldn't be as worried. And I don't think they would have been as like, they didn't want to tell us anything.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, is like, that's what I said, it's like, if you, like, again, this is us telling you as, number 4 here, and like, I haven't gone around this road 3 times.
We've done this before.
It's like, one, is we already know what's going on, but if this was our first, we'd walk away from this and just be, well, not just confused, just be like, oh, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Like if you just don't know.
I told Kyle you'd be one of two things. You'd either be freaking out or you would be not worried. And I really feel like you should be somewhere in between.
Well, you should just know you should know reality, but have hope, right? I mean, that's how it is. That's how all babies are, no matter what. Like,
when I asked my doctor or whatever, the nurse practitioner, when I asked her, I was like, well, I was very calm. I was like, well, just tell me. I was like, what are the odds?
She said miscarriage threat, and she said, well, what are the chances?
Yeah, she's like, this is a miscarriage threat we have.
And so she asked her, well, what are the chances?
I was like, well, what are the chances or the odds of this? Can you tell me? And I said it really calm, and she
straight up dodged the question.
She did not.
She didn't even go right into, well, it's a little chance or a big chance or anything.
But no. She literally didn't say anything.
She was just like, well, we'll just come back in a week, and
And she repeated some of the stuff we said earlier, like, just oh, it's an ultrasound that we just did, and just come back next week. And I was like,
and so like both of us, like I looked at her at least, and I made that face like, and the first thing I said when we walked in the room was like, she didn't answer the question. That's not good.
Kyle said to me.
And so it's one of those things where as a practitioner, like
we didn't think that was a great
just response. Like if you as a practitioner, you look at all these things like the heartbeat and the size and all this stuff, and they're all like whatever, they're coming up with the conclusion that maybe there's something wrong, or there's a possibility of something wrong. It's not just a 1% sort of thing. It's something to talk about. Like you have an obligation to, one, be honest with your patients, and yeah, if they're gonna freak out a little bit, deal with them. But then two, like also she didn't offer, at least this time, to bring in the doctor or talking about stuff, and it just felt like oh, just wait and see. And
which I get, they don't want to dash your hopes. Like I understand what she was doing, but we just felt like that wasn't, like, this is what I was like, you know, she could have been like, okay, look, you know, there's some signs here that aren't good, but you still have a heartbeat, and we're gonna hold on to hope, so let's wait until next week. And that, just saying it like that, I would have been like, okay.
Yeah, that alone, having a viable heartbeat's a big, you know, good factor against having a miscarriage. So, you know, I mean, she could just say that and just be like, well, it's there, but, you know, we'll talk about it. And we are just in wait and see mode, and just been more transparent about it. So, yeah. So it was just a little frustrating, but also we were talking, the big problem is like, the only reason we're having this conversation is because we know we've done it before, and we know what's normal.
I know when,
you know what's up.
I know when, you know what's normal. I know what's a normal pregnancy test result looks like right away at the beginning versus like when you're farther along. I know what, when around the time when a heartbeat, you know, shows up and how strong it's supposed to be at certain points. And I know when we did not have the kind of activity that would conceive a baby that doesn't match up with this. Yeah. And there's just like, I mean, I've done this before. And
the bottom line is, if you didn't know though, you would just, you know, you wouldn't be being helped right now. Like you'd be at home telling your parents like, oh, it's fine, or you know, like, oh, there's a little bleed, but you know, they're just gonna wait it out. And like, no, really, there's actually stuff that's, you know, maybe not going wrong, you know, going well at all, and all that sort of stuff. So anyway,
when we did see the ultrasound though, and I told Kyle when we left the ultrasound, I was like, there was other pockets of something. I was like, I mean, it obviously wasn't a twin because there was nothing in there, but I was like, I commented to Kyle about it. I was like, those aren't normal on an ultrasound. And Kyle was like, well, I don't know what I'm looking at, so I just go with it. And I was like, I wonder what those were. That was weird. And it turns out it was weird.
Yeah, it's weird. And you know, it's one of those things also where I think just us as like the fourth time around, like we're saying, if this was our first kid, or we were our age, you know, in our mid-30s, or we'd been trying, or we'd had, you know, it's not that you want to be lied to, but you want, the wait and see is fine. You know, let's just wait and see, and we're just not, you know, we're not going to take it with it. But like, this is our fourth kid, and it's like, we just want, we like we said, like, we just want some reality. Yeah. Just so, because we can plan and know what's going on with it, like a little more, just like openly, and it just wasn't. And really, like, too, like I was telling Kyle, like we were saying this, I was like, I get it, they just don't want you to start freaking out in that room or being emotionally upset. But we won't freak out.
But that's what they don't want when they don't 100% have the answer yet. But then Kyle pointed out to me, he's like, that's their job though. Like, their job is to comfort you, and part of their thing is bedside manner, and like, and provide support for patients. And like, them not doing that can make things worse. And I get why they're doing it, but it's like, if you're gonna just don't want to deal with someone freaking out yet, like that's why you don't do it. That's not okay. Yeah. And by the way, this lady, I really like her.
Oh yeah, it's like, they did it with the nice smile on their face. They weren't mean or rude, or
she didn't want to get me in right away again.
You know, and she wants them to come right back in, and it just felt like they were doing all the right things but not saying all the right things, I guess. And so there's a sense of, and it gets especially with this early stages, there's like nothing anyone can do. So I think they're just like, just be hopeful and don't worry about the downside.
And again, I get.
But it just felt a little like, but you could come across misleading, I guess, is the bottom line.
So anyway, so that all happened. So now we're just gonna.
We're wait and see.
We're just gonna wait and see.
We're gonna wait and see. We'll be back in next Wednesday.
Never had anything like this happen, so we just, you know.
We'll be back in a week or so, and.
The heartbeat though, the heartbeat on this whole thing was. We did have some other stuff happen though. The ultrasound tech with her confused look about like. Could your dates be wrong? Like, and I was like, oh, I guess so, but I meant like I could be farther along, not the opposite. So she was like, she was automatically kind of like whatever.
There was a lot. There was a lot there that I think like they just weren't telling us, and like, and it's only because, like I said, we've done it before, and Courtney's just, you know, been in your community so long.
She did ask me specifically. Remember, she was like, when she was looking, she was like, were your other pregnancies okay? Were the other babies okay? Did you have any problems?
Yeah.
And that's with the ultrasound tech who asked me that. And I've never been asked that before.
Yeah.
And I've seen people get asked stuff like that before when there was a problem when I watch YouTube.
And that's what I was saying. So there was just a sense there of like,
things going on.
So just so you know, just for you guys, like when you're out there and you know, one, you're hearing those things, you know, like one, let the warning bells go off and ask the right question and ask the hard questions for yourself too. And if you are gonna freak out, that's the best time to do it, is right then and there and get it over with.
Because
then at least, because the sooner the better. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, trust me, if bad things happen, you're gonna freak out one way or the other, and it's better to like be a little prepared for it, or just kind of be, you know, just be.
And they could be a little bit more like just a little realistic without giving you no hope.
Yeah, I mean, they could just, I mean, even if they put a number, they go, well, honestly, it's 50-50. It's like, well, that's 50%. I'll take it, you know, because otherwise it's just like you said, like the flip side is like, here we are, because we know, we're like, I mean, our conversation over lunch, it almost sounded like baby's doomed, and like we had that moment of like, no, let's wait and see. Let's actually do what they're saying. But
it's just all the things adding up. I don't want to.
But you could definitely go the other way and just be like, oh, everything's fine. They didn't make a big deal about it. They didn't bring the doctor in. They didn't want to talk numbers.
But to go back to the when the baby you know, she went, I saw the heart beating like strong, like I could just see it, like so hardcore.
Yeah, you could see it. Really.
And I was like, I've never been able to see one quite like that so early, because she'd already kind of given me the date she thought it was. And then the lady, she was like, I was like, we wouldn't be able to hear it right now. She's like, oh no. She's like, it's super hard to hear.
She literally
and then she turned the sound on, and the heartbeat was just like, boom, 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 boom. And her face, she went, like, I mean, like gasped, straight,
like audibly. She went,
oh, and then though, she was kind of like, and that's why we're like, it might be farther along, but it hasn't been growing.
Yeah. So.
It's developing, like some of it's developing, like its heart and things, but it might not be growing.
Yeah, so anyway, so there's just a little bit of, like, you know, as usual, just unknown. So you're always like, am I worried about nothing? But it's not nothing. And we felt like maybe they were doing the best job of that. But that's also the kind of their job, to just keep the hope, like Courtney was saying, like a lot of them, they deal in hope, you know, they deal in, like,
and I
miracles.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah. So.
But when I just straight up ask her calmly,
what are my chances?
What are the chances with something like this? And getting, not only getting like a walk around answer, getting a zero answer.
Yeah.
Getting an about face, like, oh hey, how about that football game? Like, that's what it felt like. It was so not even, there wasn't even like a hint of her answering my question. And then like that wrapped back to like, so we'll see you next week. And I was like, all right, you guys, so there we go. There's the update. There's our little bean. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Not those are the blood, but there.
Right. Anyway, that's our update. Can't really
see anything, obviously.
That's our update for this meeting. And Courtney got a Rogaine shot.
I have to go get my Rogaine shot. My blood type is A negative. I'm RH negative.
And
so
you got the food nausea. The
oh yeah, I didn't eat today until we went out to eat, and I was like
borderline puke, like you know, up in here.
So give me some bread. Which, by the way, I don't eat much bread anymore. So. But I was like, no, I did not worry about that. Also, from Tuesday to today, so not even a full week, I lost 5 pounds. I've lost 5, and not because I've been sick. Like, I've lost 5 pounds. I think I've just been like really bloated.
Yeah.
And then today I wasn't as bloated.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was still really happy. I was like, I'm so happy to see that. I was like, that's 5 pounds. Yeah, so the only other thing I was gonna add is last night I did have some cramps, like pretty intense. But I thought, TMI, but I thought maybe it was like bathroom cramps, you know? But then today, I haven't had any cramps like that, but I've had this weird, it's like, I told Kyle, I don't know how to describe it. It feels heavy, and this is before we went into the appointment and found this stuff out. I was feeling this just deep in my stomach, deep in my belly, like it just feels this weird kind of heavy feeling. And then every once in a while, like I feel like it's just like almost like somebody squeezing, but it doesn't feel necessarily like a cramp. It's like almost like just this heavy, like pulling type of squeeze. And that could be totally normal. It have nothing to do with any of this, but I did have, I was having that. That's the only other thing weird, so. All right, you guys, we're gonna call it. So we'll just talk to you guys next time. Bye.